Welcome back again, my friends in conflict. Today is election day in the United States, and there has just been a proliferation of political ads, text messages, and poll invitations that I've received. I don't know if my experience has been similar to yours, but I have been inundated by messaging from various political campaigns for several weeks. And it has been more messaging than I have experienced in 5 decades of life up to this point. Maybe it's because I live in Michigan and it's a swing state where we've had 33 visits from presidential candidates and the running mates just since February. It is crazy. So this proliferation of messaging that we see in digital and print and even on social media is filled with opinions that are driven by the values that many of us hold very strongly. Those values, when they feel threatened, and these candidates know that they can make us feel threatened in these values by basing their messaging in fear that those values will be taken away. When those values are threatened, people will actually advocate even more passionately for their cause or for their candidate or for their political party. And I have seen, unfortunately, as many of you probably have, the spilling over or the crossing of the line from civility to incivility in the messaging and in the advocacy of the messaging and of the platforms and of the candidates by persons who hold these values very strongly. So I'd like to share just 3 examples of incivility in the political arena that I have experienced, that I have seen in the last week or so. Firstly, I had a Facebook friend who posted a video, as you can see here, of a woman who approached a family in her neighborhood who had political signs that she didn't agree with. And she used some very foul language and was just a nasty, nasty person to this family. And credit to the family, they stayed really and just let this woman go on her way after she basically cursed them out for supporting a candidate that she thought was the devil, as you can see. The second example came when I was out on a bike ride, and I rode past and had to stop and turn around to take a picture of it, a sign that was for Trump as a candidate for president. And you can see that there was damage done to this sign, and I'm guessing that it wasn't by the wind, given the nature of the damage here. And these supporters of Trump posted some additional signs there, which did not speak very, very well of Democrats. But I also read examples this week of people in neighborhoods near mine who were stealing signs from one political party or another, which is just not acceptable. The third example I saw was a car that was driving by with some Trump signs on it, but also had signs that said Democrats suck. So here's a picture of a similar type of bumper sticker to what I saw that just portrays hatred towards Democrats, which is not very civil. So this brings me to something that I've been thinking about a lot and reading about for the last 6 months, which is a survey that the Society for Human Resource Managers, otherwise known as SHRM, conducted among 1,600 workers across the United States. They wanted to gauge the level of civility or incivility in the workplace. And they came up with a civility index, the SHRM Civility Index. And they published their results from the first round of surveys for the first quarter of the year with an incivility index rating of 42.3 out of 100. What this indicates is that it's pretty commonplace for workers across the country to experience incivility in the workplace. It's enough that we're experiencing that outside of the workplace, but in the workplace where we should have civil behavior, we are not experiencing that. And for the following 2 quarters, in the second and the third quarters of the year, that civility index of SHRM's has increased each quarter. In the second quarter, it rose to 45.6, and most recently in the third quarter, it rose to 46.1 out of 100. Now, SHRM has a starter kit for civility that is available to download, and I suggest you take a look at it. It's got some really good suggestions about things that you can implement within your organizations and teams and in your own interactions to ensure that you are being civil. I would like to add a few suggestions of my own from my experience that I feel that you could implement within your organizations to help. So I've got suggestions for senior leaders and executives and for managers and for employees. First, for senior leaders and executives at the C-suite level, you can set the tone for culture in your organization more effectively than any other stakeholder group throughout the organization. So my suggestion is that you model civility and you demonstrate that you're willing to have conversations with people about things that you might disagree with. And you can show that you can have those conversations without becoming disagreeable yourself. Secondly, for managers, you have the opportunity to kind of police employees. Unfortunately, whether or not you like it, that's part of your job as a manager. Maybe you weren't provided a lot of training when you became a manager. Maybe you don't feel like you're in a good position to police employees and you don't want to be that kind of manager. But what you can do is remind employees in all of your conversations with them, in as many exchanges as you have on a daily or weekly basis, remind them of shared values. Maybe those are the company values that will keep you all united. But when you find commonality between team members who might have different and even competing values, bringing them together around those shared values can be super effective. Remember, managers, that culture is the result of lots of repetition of the messaging and of the values that you want to drive that culture. And you are in the position to be the ones in driving those conversations. So drive the culture. It comes through repetition over time. Now, finally, for the third group, employees, you are the ones having conversations with one another and with managers even who might unfortunately demonstrate some incivility. So what I invite you to do is to humanize those who disagree with you. Don't demonize them. Keep in mind that they have siblings and parents and children. They have neighbors. They're dealing with the same challenges of life that you're dealing with. And they want the same things that you want. They want happiness and good things for the people that they love. So don't demonize them. It's okay to disagree. Just don't become disagreeable. So I invite any of you in either of those groups to consider implementing some of these strategies. Try it out and share with me your comments from your efforts and from your experiences. I'd also love to hear what you predict will be the SHRM Civility Index rating for the fourth quarter following our elections. So go vote if you haven't already voted and remain civil.